My fiancé, 25 male, and myself, 24F, have been together since we were 17-18 years old. Honestly, he was always kind, handsome, funny, and everyone used to say I was so lucky to have the whole package. I felt so lucky too. He always treated me with love and respect, so this makes everything just so shocking for me. I have always had a good relationship with my mom. It has always been her and I against the world. My dad died in an accident when I was little. We always joke we are the real-life Rory and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. My mom dated guys on and off and they were usually cool, but nothing really past the early stages. Around 4 years ago my mom told me she was pregnant, which was a huge surprise. My mom was around 42 years old, and although she was sort of dating someone recently, didn't meet the guy but knew she went on dates, it still was a big shock. She never thought she could be pregnant at her age. She had me when she was super young, an oopsie, and I can tell she was stressed and worried. I decided to support her, since she has always supported me, and tried to reassure her. She then had my brother, who is now 3 years old. I have a close relationship with my brother. I have helped taking care of him since he was born, and I just love the little guy. My fiancé was also always helpful with my brother. We would take him out for ice cream, playground, pool time during summer, etc., but nothing was weird. He was just my then BF, spending time with my brother, and I now to the how I found out. My fiancé and I lived together since we finished college. My fiancé was not at home since he was hanging out with friends, but I was home. I didn't feel like going out and just wanted to chill on my sofa. At some point during binge watching a series on Netflix, my laptop died and I was too lazy to go get my charger, so I just opened my fiancé's iPad. I know the password but honestly never used it before. The iPad logged in and I got a bunch of messages pinging. I guess he hasn't used it in a while too? Anyways, this got my attention and I went to check it out, and OFC, I found everything. My mom's number wasn't under her name, but I recognized the number and verified it with my phone. She was telling him she felt guilty and that I should know. He said he also felt guilty but couldn't lose me, and they /backlashed it up. She said that it was unfair for my brother to never not know his dad, and that if he could live having his son around not behaving like a dad but a brother-in-law. I broke down. What the actual F? There weren't a lot of older messages, just some photos stored of my brother as a newborn, my mom pregnant, and more photos of my brother growing up in an album. I couldn't anymore. I cried for what it seemed ages, and I wait for my BF to come back home. I wish I was one of those women that can pretend and get things together before confronting the cheater, but I can't. He came back later that night, around 23:30, and I just gave him the iPad with the conversation opened and saw his face completely go pale. I asked for an explanation. When? How? Why? And he didn't want to at first, but knew he had to. Apparently a few years back, while I was traveling with some friends, girls trip, my fiancé and mom had dinner together. This isn't strange since he has been part of the family for so long. Sometimes mom and fiancé would eat together at our place even if I was busy with sports or out. I did the same with his parents. Somehow, unclear how since he couldn't explain it well, one thing led to another and they ended up sleeping together. They felt guilty but apparently not guilty enough. They slept together 2-3 more times, using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me. Apparently when my mom got pregnant they stopped sleeping together and decided to not tell me, since my fiancé loved me and couldn't lose me, and my mom didn't want to lose her daughter. So here we are now, with two of the most disgusting humans. I obviously broke the engagement, told my mom to never talk to me again and move in with a friend. I feel bad for my brother since I really love him, but I can't be around him now, I just can't. I feel like it would remind me of all those times we talked about having kids. I would be his baby mama, only baby mama. We talked about this future since we were 17 years old, so I want to puke every time I think how I was actually taking care of his child with someone else, while still having those dreams. I want to puke. Update 1. As I was afraid, I was indeed confronted near my office this week. I knew this was coming but thought maybe I had more time. My ex was the person to come find me. Yesterday, Wednesday, after finishing work and walking to where my car was parked, my ex was sort of lingering, waiting around. I thought about running, not gonna lie, but I guess in the moment I felt strong enough to get over with it, instead of having that hanging above my head waiting to be approached again. He asked if we could talk and I said yes, but I didn't feel like having that conversation over coffee like we were old friends. It felt ridiculous, so I told him to just talk right there. We were in the streets but somehow it wasn't crowded, but also not completely lonely, felt right. He basically said sorry 100 times, and that I deserved better. I agreed. He said he did love me and that he still does, but he would understand why I wouldn't want anything to do with him. He said that if I did in fact consider giving him a chance, that he would go to therapy, alone or together or both, and that he would work hard to win my trust back. I told him it wasn't possible, there was too much damage. This sounds calm when I type it, but in the moment things came out more with louder tone and harsher words. Anyways, he did say that he is in the or will be. It was a bit of a blur, process of getting custody, partly, from my brother, and that he in fact does want to be a dad to him. He said he does not want to be together with my mom, that it was just a stupid mistake. Sure. BC 4 to 5 times mistake is just a random thing. He couldn't explain why he did it in the first place. I think he doesn't even know himself. I asked if he cheated with someone else before. He said no, not sure if to believe it, but he sounded honest. I asked why he didn't come clean, and he said that after he did the deed he always felt panicked and it hits him that he could lose me and he just didn't want to. I told him it was meant to be found out, that what was his plan? To have my brother around and ignore their relationship forever? He said he didn't think far enough and that he was basically going with the idea one day at the time type of survival. I asked him if he felt that my mom seduced him. He said it was mutual, which made me want to puke again. I asked if he has any contact with my mom since I found out. He said yes, but mostly about my brother, didn't elaborate more and I didn't press for more info on that. He said he told his parents the day before or the day before that not sure, Tuesday? About everything. The parents were not happy but they are glad to start building now a relationship with my brother, their grandkid. Honestly, all of this felt like a punch in my stomach, I don't know why. The parents wanted to contact me but he told them to wait till he approached me first, hence why he was here. I said if he started or thought about the custody before I found out and he said no, but when I found out was like the push he needed. Great, seems I helped him get his shit together, and this past week he was arranging all of that mess, that's why he hasn't tried to see me before. He sounded and looked defeated, but the whole thing made me, besides sad, angry. I was mainly depressed before but now I'm furious. I feel like he is still in an okay place and he isn't paying for his actions, beyond me leaving him. He will have my brother, his parents and others and move on with his life. While I lost everything. I hate him. We parted ways not on a happy note, and I told him to never get near me again, I was done. He asked me to see my brother still, that I was important to him and tried to guilt trip me and it worked, but I still think I can't. I don't know much about my mom and really hope she doesn't come find me anytime soon. I'm fuming right now and won't be able to handle it. I will be contacting my family and friends and finally doing the blasting today. I think is about time and after my talk with him, I got the extra push I needed. Update 2. A lot has happened. I did the blasting. And this is how it went down. I first posted on my family's FB group we share, this is from my mom's family side. I used inspiration of what you all suggested in my last post and said something around the lines of, I want to communicate to you all that my wedding with X has been permanently cancelled, since I found out that my mom, name, and my ex, name, had in the last few years a sexual relationship which resulted in the birth of my little brother, name. I had no clue of any of this, and I found out about it last week. I won't have moving forward a relationship with, name, mom, and ex, name, for obvious reasons. I would appreciate your understanding and I felt it was only fair to let you know of the situation. Since I value transparency and honestly above all. I also included a screenshot of my mother's message, what I said to her once I found out and a message she managed to write back before I blocked her, didn't open the message till before the blasting, I didn't want to read her and be persuaded. It exploded. I had family reaching out via text and calling the whole day after the blasting. I would say most were very supportive and I could tell they were just shocked. There were a few neutral and some suspicious that it wasn't the whole story and maybe I misunderstood. My grandparents were in the maybe you misunderstood category, which it wasn't surprising since my mom is super close to my grandparents and like I said before, my mom was always a good mom. So no red flags. I will be moving with a cousin that is more like a sister to me. I haven't reached out to her previously. I knew once she knows everyone would, that's why I went to my friend's place. My cousin is devastated on my behalf and offered I live with her and her 2 kids until I can get my feet on the ground. I accepted and will be moving next week. I'm a bit afraid this will give my mom an easier access to me, but I can't stay at my friend's place forever. I then proceeded quickly to post a similar message from we share most of our friends since high school and local university, friends on Instagram. I created a close friends story and tagged most of them too. This went sort of viral in our friend group. Actually one of my friends sent me my Reddit post and asked if this was me, I confirmed. They were also shocked and speechless. They never thought my ex would even remotely do anything like this. They said he was crazy about you. Oh well. Apparently he went overboard on the crazy part. The group of friends is divided ATM, some are completely on my side and some are thinking it isn't the whole truth. I told everyone that reached out that if they don't believe me to ask their friend if he is asking for custody of my little brother. That kinda shut them up for now. My ex deleted his social media apparently. Also my ex's parents called me like I guess they would. They were kind to me and were very sorry about everything. I got the feeling they are also overwhelmed and very disappointed. However, it was clear they will be supporting their son. They are very upset at my mother, and don't want anything to do with her, but not sure how that will work with my little brother and everything else. They tried to give me info about the custody and what is my ex up to now, but I shut that down quickly and told them I don't want any info, I want to move on. I also asked them to not reach out in the near future, that I needed distance, especially if they will be supporting my ex, he is living with his parents ATM. Also my ex and my mother after the blast were going nuts trying to reach out to me. They tried calling my friend, who she blocked them, and reaching out from different numbers. I had to put my phone on silence and ignore everyone. However, my mother sent me a long text, from another number, and that was a weird text. She said that I was being cruel and that she didn't think she raised me that way. She said she thought we had a better relationship than me blasting out laundry like that without talking to her first. That I didn't have the whole picture. She did mention something that confused me. She said in her long-ass text, that the reason she slept with my ex, is because he reminded him of my dad. That it was grief. That she didn't mean to use him to heal her pain, but she wasn't strong enough. I don't even know what that means. Like, did she think that my ex looks physically like my dad? Or personality? Or what? I have seen photos of my dad, and well, yay, my ex isn't super different but also not super alike. I mean, they share brown/dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin. But that's not so uncommon. I don't see what else. I don't know. That threw me for a loop and honestly makes me want to confront my mom just to know what the hell. From all the things she could say, I was not expecting that. I'm holding on better. I don't cry every hour or want to murder them. But I'm still sad and upset, and it just feels like it isn't my life. That is a big joke or a bad dream, and I will wake up to my normal life. I also need to really start planning my future and start applying for jobs in other cities, or maybe check the possibilities abroad more seriously. I might ask for 2 to 3 days off work to really get my thought together and do some research. Update 3. My group of friends is divided. Some of his closest friends have been saying that I should give him another chance, that no one is perfect but he loves me, that he was always good to me and I shouldn't just turn my back on him. They even said that Max, little brother, and I could be a perfect little family, and that I could make sure that my little bro has a good stepmom, who better than his blood relative, right? This is so bullshit. They are talking like he messed up on something minor or even medium. Like he lied about getting laid off work, or like he forgot to pay our bills for a month, like WTF? I have some girlfriends that are complete on my side and supporting me, which is nice. But our group friend isn't solid anymore and everyone is taking sides. I did have a conversation with Max on the phone though. I admit I had a bit to drink that night since I was coming back from meeting some friends for dinner and I had a few glasses of wine and a cocktail. But I remember the talk. Disclaimer, this is not the exact conversation, but I will put what I remember on the best of my abilities. Me, do you think that you were groomed? Max, I never thought of that, but maybe? Me, how did you even get a crush on my mom? I thought we always hung out in a group and my mom wasn't really there more than a few minutes and passing by. Was it looks? Max, yes and no. I thought she was pretty and therefore the teen crush, but I then also tried to talk to her by passing through your house and ask if you were there. He knew I wasn't, and then had a chat with your mom. Me, was I always second choice? Max, no you aren't now. Me, and back then, when you asked me to be your GF. Max, silence. Me, tell me the truth please Max, I don't know. I did like you, but I still had the crush. Me, do you want to be with her now? Max, God, no. Me, why did you do it Max? Get her out of your system? So you still wanted her? Did you want her during the times we had sex? Max, no, don't. I only wanted you. I don't know. I felt like those YOLO moments. I thought I would give my teen self what he always wanted. I felt so stupid. Me, then why did you do it more times? Max, I really don't know. We were silent a lot and not long after we hung up. It was a short call, and honestly emotional. I was sort of drunkish and he seemed emotionally drained too. I feel stupid for opening up and calling him and asking those questions. I said 1,000 times I don't want to know more, but I was weak. Every time I feel like moving on I get hit again by everything. My brain can't understand yet. On my mom front, well not a lot has happened. She continues to try to fix it. My grandparents reached out to me but I didn't answer. I'm sure they were trying to give me support, so. Update 4. I'm moving to Spain. I got the job as an au pair near one of the biggest cities in Spain. I'm so excited. I'm flying in a few days and starting 01.09. Editor's note, took me way too long to realize that the day is 1st, not the month, so this is September 1st, curse my American Center date standards and my dyslexia, with the family. The kids are adorable too. I will be learning Spanish too, which I always wanted to do anyways, so it all feels like heaven sent. I haven't told almost anyone about it, just a few friends I trust and of course my cousin who I live with. Also my boss. My mother has been telling people I'm being mean to her when she wants to fix everything. She made a mistake and is trying to fix it, but I'm being difficult. She is just human. Not surprising. I'm now really coming to terms on how self-centered she is and has always been. I'm sad I lost the mom I thought I had. Feels like if she died. My new therapist, yes, I got one the last week, yay, said I'm grieving. Max has left me a bit alone since the last call we had. I heard he is focusing on my little brother and just staying under the radar. I have had some short phone calls with my little brother which has been bittersweet, but he is doing okay. He of course doesn't know what's really happening, but he is happy with having a new dad. It doesn't hurt as much as it did before, but still hurts. Now on to second story. Best friend slept with a groomsman at a wedding, lied that she was my sister, and now everyone is trashing her reputation everywhere. The story involves myself, 24F, my best friend Caroline, 23F, my younger sister Nicola, 19F, and our mutual friend, groomsman Daniel, 28M. Using real names because I know Caroline doesn't read it, and if anyone who witnessed this happens to see this, I'd love for them to get the actual facts of the story. So over the weekend, a very good family friend of both my family and Caroline's family was getting married. Caroline and I have been best friends for years. We met when we were toddlers, our moms are best friends, our sisters are friends, etc., etc., you get the picture. We knew that both of our families would be invited to this wedding and we were looking forward to it for months. It's important to note that Caroline's family and my family have a ton of mutual friends, and this was going to be a very large wedding. Guest count was in the 500s. Everything was going fine and dandy until Caroline got completely wasted. She kept talking to me about how hot one of the groomsmen, Daniel, was, and how she'd had a crush on him for years but he showed no interest. This was probably because he was in a serious relationship and had been dating his current girlfriend for 6 years. The girlfriend decided not to attend this wedding because she didn't know the bride and groom very well, and because Daniel would be a groomsman she wouldn't see him very much either. Fast forward a couple of hours and Caroline is hanging all over Daniel. She's constantly asking him to dance with her, get her drinks from the open bar, etc. She's point blank throwing herself at him and it was embarrassing and painful to watch. I tried intervening a couple of times to get her off of him, but she snapped at me and at that point I decided that it wasn't my problem. Furthermore, Daniel wasn't completely pushing her away. He looked like he had a few drinks in him as well and seemed somewhat interested in Caroline. I decided that if he didn't care I certainly wasn't going to. If he wanted to throw his relationship away it was none of my concern. I tried. I didn't witness this next part, but by the end of the night Caroline and Daniel were having sex in a different room of the hall. Yes, it escalated quickly. To their misfortune, someone, I'm not sure who, just that it was someone's mom who knew Daniel and his girlfriend, but didn't know Caroline, walked in on them, and for some reason Caroline told this woman that she was Nicola, my sister. I don't know if she was embarrassed or drunk or what, but she purposely identified herself as Nicola so Caroline herself would not be in trouble. Word quickly spread that Daniel and Nicola were caught having sex, and Nicola was mortified. People were talking about how disrespectful, home-wrecking, rude, slutty Nicola was. I honestly can't even blame them. Had I not known better, I would be thinking the same things. On top of that, Caroline had gone around actually telling other people that it was Nicola and confirming the rumor she started. The bride and groom were pissed, everyone was talking badly about my sister and Caroline seemed to not care. In fact, when I confronted her about the situation at the wedding she straight up denied it. Had Daniel not confirmed that it was Caroline he was hooking up with and not Nicola, I might have even believed her. The next day Caroline texted Nicola a half-hearted apology about the whole thing, saying she was so drunk and didn't know what she was doing. The text included a lot of lol-s and haha-s, so I'm not sure how seriously Caroline is taking the situation. She doesn't seem to realize how mortified Nicola is. Nicola genuinely thinks that her life is ruined. We live in a very tight-knit community, and a lot of people have heard the false version of what went down. I'm at odds with what to do. Up until this point, Caroline had been a very good friend to both I and Nicola. I'm just not sure if I can forgive her for this, especially considering her lack of consciousness about how bad the situation really is. Should I dump her? Or should I give her another chance? Our friendship will be different regardless. My family sees Caroline in a completely different light now, so even if I forgave her we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the same things we used to, hang out at my house, do things with my family, etc. What should I do? Reddit? Edit. At this point, a lot of people know that it was Caroline with Daniel, and not Nicola. However, I'm not sure how many is a lot. Our family friends know, but there were a lot of guests at the wedding who knew Caroline's family better than they did mine. I'm sure these people still think it was Nicola. Edit 2. Another issue is that Nicola is also terrified of the potential ramifications from Daniel's current girlfriend. I have absolutely no updates on the situation with the girlfriend. I don't know her well and I don't know what Daniel has chosen to share with her, if anything at all. Edit 3. Because a lot of people are asking me how I could even consider remaining friends with Caroline. Prior to this experience, she was honestly a great best friend. Of course we've had our ups and downs like all friends do, but she has always been a kind and caring person and I really valued our friendship. I've known her my whole life and the evening at the wedding was very uncharacteristic of her, including her coming on to a man who was in a relationship. Throwing away a friendship with someone who you have been close with for 15 plus years is extremely difficult. However, am I prepared to do this if it's the right thing to do? Update 1. So about a week and a half ago Caroline casually called me and asked to sleep over. She wanted to attend an event downtown and my place was much closer to the event than hers. At this point, it became very clear that Caroline had no idea anybody was upset with her, despite the fact that Nicola and I hadn't spoken with her since the wedding. I told Caroline that I didn't think her sleeping over was a good idea, and when she had asked why, I brought up what happened at the wedding. She laughed and said Nicola needed to grow up and get over it, and it really seemed like she expected me to agree and laugh along with her. Well, Reddit, I took your advice and let her have it. I told her how selfish and inconsiderate she was, and if it truly was no big deal, then she should have no problem taking full responsibility for her actions and publicly acknowledging that she was the one who hooked up with Daniel, and not Nicola. I told her she needed to make things right because Nicola was still mortified over something she didn't do. At the end of the phone call I gave her an ultimatum: post an apology to Facebook, and spill the beans about what actually happened, or our friendship was over, thanks to the Redditor who suggested this. To my complete and utter surprise, she did it. I thought it would make me feel better, but people were actually commenting on her FB status commending her bravery, and the fact that she did the right thing. I was super annoyed because of course she would never have done this had I not forced her to. But at the end of the day, Nicola is happy and her name is in the clear. Oh, and an update on Daniel and his girlfriend. According to his Instagram, they are happily together. Whether or not she knows about Caroline, I don't know and I don't care. Not my train wreck.